Hello and welcome. So in this video, we're going to be actually creating a security class. We're going to use the security class when we create our auth class, and I'm pretty sure in the next video we'll actually create an auth class for our modules. So we're going to create a new file, and I'm going to call this security.core.php. And I'm going to open up PHP, and I'm going to say class security. And the security class, now, everything in here is going to be static functions. We're not going to have any sort of constructor or anything like that. We're just going to be creating a bunch of static functions to call whenever we need. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to say public static function sanitize, and this is going to take in a value, and all it's going to do is it's going to return HTML entities, and it's going to take in that value and quotes, and we're just going to set our char set to be UTF-8. And so this next function that we're going to create is going to generate a token that we can use. It's going to be a random token, so we're going to say public static function gen token, and this is basically going to create a session with a token. So session set, and we're going to call this token, and then the value is going to be an MD5, and we're going to use a unique ID, and then we're also going to, inside that unique ID, we're going to say rand, and we're just going to pass in 100,000 to 900,000. So let's actually see the value of this gen token. If we go into our views, home view index, we can get rid of all that. We can just do a security gen token, and then we'll just say $token is equal to gen token. Not sure why that's coming as void, but what we'll do is we'll just bar dump this token. And then if we refresh here, oh, security. Oh, I bet you I didn't name. Yeah, I named that security core on accident. This should be security module. Basically, it's the same thing. It just and that's coming back as null. So let's see why that's coming back as null. I have a feeling that the reason why that's coming back as null is because I need to echo $session. Actually, I can just use session get and token. Okay, yeah, so I actually need to get the session since I'm saving this as a session, but every time we refresh, you'll notice that this actually changes. So this token we're going to use for cross-site request forgery to prevent people from being able to do that. We also may use it for our auth as a token instead of using I forgot. I think it was JSON Web Tokens. I think we might make our own version of JSON Web Token and just use this as a function, and we can pass in specific values, which we'll figure that out whenever we get to it. But the next function that I'm going to create in the security module is okay. So we're also going to public static function. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this just token. And so the difference between this is we may not need a session to be set every time we do a token. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to return and then MV5 unique ID random, and the same thing that we did here. So what it's essentially the same function. The only difference is that we don't actually set a session. And so if we go back to that index, and we would expect to get the same value if we echo token, and we do security token. So we would expect that we should still get a token value. And as you can see, we still get a token value, but it doesn't actually set it as a session. And we may want that for other reasons where we don't want a token actually to be set. So next, what we can do is we can check the token. So we're going to say public static function if, for that, I'll call this check token. And what we'll do is we'll take in the token, and that token will be if session exists token, and we actually want to view that we're getting this session, and session get token is equal to $token. So if that's actually equal to the token set, we want to return true, else we're going to return false. Okay, so that's the simple check token. Next, we're going to actually create a function called encrypt, which we'll use to encrypt passwords. Essentially, we're just going to return the password hash. So public static function, and we'll do encrypt, and then we'll say $password, and we'll generate a solid side actually. So we'll say $salt is equal to, and we'll do just an MD5 for unique ID between 1,000 and 900,000. Basically, we'll generate a token, and that will be our salt. And then we'll actually have to save the salt later. Because we'll have to save the salt into the user's table. So like we would have our users, and then we would have a salt somewhere in here, and we would actually have to save that salt. So would I really want to call our DB function, and I don't want to create a model yet or our user because I want to save that for the auth class. Well, I could actually just pass the salt in. A salt. Then we'll say that $pass is equal to $pass, and then the salt. And then we'll do return password underscore verify, not password verify, password underscore hash. And then we'll say $password and bcrypt, not bcrypt, default. Okay. Because default is what's supposed to be the most secure. And then we will do a verify function. So public static function verify, and we'll take in the $hash, password, and the salt. And then we'll just say pass is equal to salt. And then if the verify passes for the hash and the password, then we'll return true. And if it returns false, and in fact, I think the hash actually needs to be first. No, a hash doesn't need to be first. Okay. And then now we could also add a user agent to the security, but we honestly don't need to. And so that is our basic security class. Now we may add some more functions later on, but this is good enough for our application. So we'll use this. Now, just so you can understand what the what this the encrypt function does, we can go back here. We can do security encrypt, and we'll say password is password 123 at, and then we'll say our salt. We'll say $salt, and then I'll just use a token $sign equal to security. Just do token. So, and that will just generate a random value for us, and then we can actually echo token, which is what we're doing. So if I go back to our localhost here and refresh, as you can see, this is what our password is. It's got both the salt and it's also encrypted, and that's what we want. Okay, so this is all for our security core, our security module, and if you want to continue watching, please join on the next episode where we'll actually be building out a helper class for our auth. Alrighty, so I will see you in the next video, and thank you for watching.